Every marketer I know feels the same pressure. Too many themes, too many channels, too many deliverables, and never enough time to stay fully on top of everything. Whether you're managing a full team or handling it all yourself, the workload can quickly become overwhelming. That's exactly why I've become so focused on the power of Cowork Skills. Once you teach the system how your marketing actually works, your processes, your thinking, your standards, it can execute consistently every single time. And the exciting part is that with just a handful of well-designed Cowork skills, you can begin building an AI-powered marketing team that gives you real leverage. In this session, I'm going to show you how to build your first AI marketing team using Cowork Skills. Now, everyone is talking about AI agents, and yes, they're incredibly powerful. But what truly unlocks their power isn't the agents themselves, it's the expertise behind them. That expertise lives inside Cowork Skills. When you design a skill library for your marketing team, you're essentially capturing your best marketing knowledge, your standard operating procedures, your proven frameworks, your brand standards, your strategic thinking. Agents then become the team members who apply that expertise. You can equip any agent with any combination of skills from your library depending on the role you want them to perform. And that's what makes this system so powerful. You build the knowledge once, and the entire team can run on it. Even better, that same library can be used across different AI systems and models. Today, we're going to build 5 foundational skills that cover what most marketing teams need to operate effectively. First, research and strategy. So, your campaigns are always grounded in insights. Second, content creation. To generate high-quality marketing content consistently. Third, creative development. For visuals, concepts, and campaign ideas. Fourth, data analysis to interpret results and improve performance. And finally, campaign presentation. So, insights and strategies can be communicated clearly. With these 5 skills in place, you'll have the foundation of an AI marketing team that works with structure, consistency, and scale. These skills form the foundation of your marketing skill library, the base that you will continue building and improving over time. For this demonstration, we'll be using Cowork Code Desktop. If you prefer working with Cowork Work, that's completely fine as well. The overall process remains the same. The first thing you need to do is make sure you have the skill creator installed. These official skills are not built directly into Cowork by default, so you'll need to install them separately. I'll include the official skill we're using, along with a guide that walks you through the installation process. Now, let's take a look at our setup. We've already created a project folder called Simple Home, which is our D2C e-commerce framework. Inside this project folder, we've organized several subfolders that structure the project. The most important one is the context folder. Whenever you onboard a new client, or if you're working as an in-house marketer, you should create context files that capture the essential information about the brand, the product, the audience, and other critical background details. This allows you to equip Claude with all the necessary context so it understands the business before executing any marketing tasks. Another important file is Claude.md. This file works like custom instructions for the project. It helps guide how Cowork should navigate your folder system and interact with the files inside your project. Inside our AI for Marketing program, I go much deeper into how to design and structure this entire context system. We provide detailed templates and frameworks so you can build this setup efficiently. If you're interested in exploring that in more detail, you can find the link below to join. But for now, let's move forward and create our first skill, marketing research. We already have the standard operating procedure documents that the brand currently uses for marketing research and strategy reports. Now, the goal is to turn that process into a reusable skill. In Cowork Code Desktop, start by selecting the same project folder for this framework. Then use the prompt to create a new skill called Marketing Research Strategy. This skill will connect to Perplexity MCP or any other search engine you prefer to perform in-depth research. After gathering the information, it will follow the exact procedures outlined in the SOP documents to generate a complete strategy brief. Before doing this, Make sure that Perplexity MCP is already installed and that the output configuration looks similar to the example shown. Once the process starts, Cowork will begin reading several key files. It will scan the SOP documents, the context files, and the skill creator structure to understand how the skill should be built. Then it automatically writes the skill file with the proper structure. And just like that, we've created our first skill for this marketing setup. You can always open and view the skill inside your IDE, where you'll see that it defines the workflow in detail. It also includes references and supporting resources the skill might use during execution. From that point on, whenever you want to use the skill, you can simply type the /command inside Cowork, or you can allow Cowork to trigger the skill automatically when it recognizes the right task. For example, you might ask it to analyze a competitor. The great thing about these types of skills is that you don't need to repeat the brand context every time. The system automatically reads the brand context files, pulls the necessary information, and runs the workflow. It triggers the full process, calling the perplexity search, collecting insights, and generating a comprehensive report in the exact format we defined earlier. The result is a detailed strategy report that is highly relevant to the brand. And importantly, everything still runs locally within your system. This is how Claude Skills helps standardize and scale your marketing workflow. Now, this is just one way to create a custom marketing skill. Another approach is to provide Claude with some of your best marketing references and knowledge sources, and then let Cowork transform that expertise into a reusable skill. For example, let's create a social media content skill. In this case, we already have several resources available, such as collections of high-performing social media content, as well as detailed storytelling frameworks gathered from different experts in this field. We can provide those materials to Claude and ask it to analyze them, identify the underlying patterns, and then convert those insights into a reusable skill that can consistently generate effective social media content. Let's create a third skill, the creative designer skill. This skill will use the Google Nano Banana model to generate different marketing creatives. I'll include the link below so you can install the Nano Banana MCP. Again, you need to clearly define the expected behavior for Claude, so it understands what this skill should do. In this case, the creative designer skill will generate social media visuals using the Nano Banana model based on any given post copy or content direction. You'll also notice that I included the default style and color palette so the visuals remain on brand. On top of that, I added a strong example for the model to follow. Now, Claude reads all the context files and quickly creates our third marketing skill, along with the necessary reference files. Let's test it with a simple prompt. We'll ask it to generate a social infographic about an educational topic using the specified style, layout, and color palette. Now the system triggers the social creative designer skill and then calls the Nano Banana MCP tool to generate the final visual. And there it is. The result is actually quite impressive, especially with the blueprint technical style. Now, our marketing team has one more capability: the ability to create visual creatives in any style or format we define. Using the same approach, we can build additional skills. For example, we've also created two more: a data analysis skill, which collects data inputs, analyzes data sets, and generates dashboards, and a campaign presentation skill, which transforms raw marketing materials into on-brand presentations or landing pages. And of course, you can continue building even more skills depending on what your marketing team needs. Now, I could demonstrate each of these skills individually, but let me show you something far more powerful: using these skills together. Because in real marketing workflows, nothing happens in isolation. Everything is connected. For example, imagine this brand is launching a new campaign, and we already have the core campaign concept. We can give Claude a task like this: create 10 Instagram posts for this campaign, then design the corresponding campaign social creatives, and save everything into a new folder called Campaign Launch. First, Claude reads all the relevant context. Then it calls two different skills: the social media content skill and the social creative designer skill, and begins building the task list. This is multi-skill orchestration in action. Notice that I didn't predefine how the work should be split. Claude simply looks at the available skills and determines the most efficient way to use them together. Within about 10 minutes, Claude generates all the post copy and creative files and saves everything successfully inside the folder. All the creatives have been generated, and they look fully on brand with the default brand style and color palettes defined in the scope. You can also see that Cowork has generated them in various formats, different ratios, and different post types for this campaign concept to give more variety, which is very nice. They also match the cozy feel of this soft home essentials brand. So even if you're just brainstorming creative concepts, this can be very useful. Claude isn't randomly generating these creatives. It is also considering your brand context. Now, for the social content of this campaign, it follows the instructions to generate 10 Instagram launch posts with the format, caption details, and visual directions that pair well with the generated social creatives. And what I really like is that it even includes the storytelling framework it used when generating the post copy. This is why your skills are so important. They give the system a deep well of knowledge so everything can stay aligned instead of becoming siloed tasks. These outputs also work like a mini brief for the team to follow. So that was 2 skills working together on one task. But what happens when the task becomes much more complex? This is where Claude doesn't just use 1 or 2 skills. It starts to act like a team lead, assigning tasks to agents. There are actually 2 ways to do this. The first method is using sub-agents, or your own custom-defined sub-agents. Claude acts as the main agent, spinning up sub-agents and assigning each one a specific task. Those agents only report back to Claude as the team lead. This works very well when tasks are mostly independent. The second method is using the agent teams feature. With this approach, Claude creates an agent team. These agents share a task list and can communicate with each other before finalizing their work and reporting back to the team lead. The biggest difference is that each of these agents becomes a separate session inside Claude Code. This is very useful for complex marketing workflows where agents need to share feedback and collaborate. However, it also uses significantly more tokens. For today's demonstration, we'll focus on sub-agents because this is what you'll likely use 90% of the time. For example, imagine we have a big quarterly review task for this brand. We can ask Claude to split it into 3 parallel tasks. First, create a marketing strategy. Second, perform data analysis. Third, combine those findings into a presentation. Claude then plans how to use different custom skills for these 3 tasks using parallel sub-agents. It begins by calling the marketing research skill and performing the perplexity research. Once that step is finished, it moves on to task number 2, building the dashboard and calling the data analysis skill. When both of those tasks are complete, Claude synthesizes the findings and begins building a presentation deck using the campaign presentation skill. If you don't want to rely on predefined custom agents, you can also ask Claude to create ad hoc agents for the task. When the process is finished, all the deliverables are saved into the specified folder: the marketing strategy brief, the dashboard, and the presentation deck. Let's first take a look at the strategy report. It follows the original SOP process we defined earlier, and all the key sections and pillars are included in the brief. This highlights an important point. The process is often more important than the research tool itself. Now, looking at the campaign performance dashboard, it's also very well structured. It includes all the key metrics and uses the brand colors and style. The data charts are clear and informative, breaking down performance across each channel. Different chart types are used to improve the data storytelling impact. One feature I particularly like is that the dashboard is fully interactive. You can click on specific metrics to sort, filter, and highlight the data. And finally, the presentation deck also looks quite solid, with a clean design that combines the insights from Task 1 and Task 2 directly into the slides, including the performance recap, data charts, research findings, and quick win recommendations. Of course, you can always adjust the slides to better fit your narrative. So with just 3 core skills, it's almost like having 3 marketing assistants helping you save time by handling a lot of the preparation work for complex tasks like this, before you even dive deeper with your own insights. Now, if you're really interested in setting up agent teams, the first step is to enable the feature through the global Claude settings. I'll include the official link below. Once it's enabled, whenever you want to use this feature, you can simply ask Claude to create an agent team with 3 specialized teammates. Notice that in this example, we asked teammate 1 and teammate 2 to review each other's work before finalizing it. From Claude's plan, it first sets up the team structure, then initiates different phases of work. These include parallel execution, followed by cross-review, and finally execution, where each agent shares feedback before the final output is produced. This is where agent teams become particularly useful. However, I always recommend asking Claude to show you the high-level plan first, because agent teams consume significantly more tokens. That way you can review the plan and proceed only if you're satisfied with the approach. So far, we've seen these skills working together within a single project. But what happens if you want to bring this entire skill library to a completely different brand project, or even a completely different tool? This is where Claude plugins come in. Instead of uploading custom skills one by one, you can package them into a custom plugin for distribution. Think of it as a bundle package. First, we ask Claude to package all the custom skills in this project into a reusable plugin called AI Marketing Skill. At the same time, we can define a custom/command called landing-page, which triggers a workflow that uses both the marketing research skill and the presentation skill to build a landing page. A bonus tip is that you can also include custom agents inside the plugin if you've created any. Claude will go through the documentation, gather all the skills and reference files, and package them into a plugin format. Now, when we onboard another brand, we simply select the New Project folder. In this example, the brand is Spark Agency. Then we click Plugins, where we can either import a third-party plugin from a GitHub repository or upload the plugin as a zip file. Once the plugin is installed, all the skills are immediately available for this new project. That's where the real power comes in. We can invoke any skill exactly as we did before, or simply use the /commands we defined. For example, let's try the landing page command to design a compelling homepage for this consulting brand. Claude will execute the same workflow, loading the brand context, using the research skill to generate a landing page brief, and finally building the landing page structure. Within moments, you have a research-backed landing page that is aligned with the brand, and you can continue refining it directly inside Claude Code. Another bonus is that you can bring the same plugin into Cowork as well. Cowork is essentially the no-code interface version of Claude Code, designed for office workflows. Once the plugin is installed there, you simply invoke the skills the same way. For example, in this case, we might ask it to analyze a dataset and build a presentation. Claude will follow the same workflow defined inside the skill, and you'll notice that it automatically adapts the output for the new brand, using the color scheme and brand styling defined in that project. This is the real power of skills. You can replicate your workflows across different brands while still generating deliverables that remain fully on brand. Give it a try yourself and see how it works. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I'd also like to invite you to join our growth community. Right now, we're running a workshop series on building AI systems for marketing, where we go much deeper into these concepts. You can find the link below if you'd like to join. And before you go, make sure to watch the other videos about Claude Code workflows and Claude Skills to learn more about how the Claude ecosystem can support your marketing systems. I'll see you next time.